Hello there! Welcome to today's dialogue. Today we caught Christophe Laudamiel, master perfumer, scent composer, lecturer, writer, and chemist champion. He has co-created 10 fragrances for major houses, such as Polo Blue for Men by Ralph Lauren, Happy Heart by Clinique, and for Tom Ford and Tommy Hilfiger. So, hello sir, welcome to Mongolia.
Thank you for the invitation. It's really a pleasure to be here, really a pleasure.
What's your first impression in Mongolia? It's winter time and in Ulaanbaatar there's a lot of smoke.
So, yeah, I haven't been outside a lot because it's really freezing. And I'm waiting for my suitcase to get all my pullovers and everything. But of course, the one thing I noticed is the smoke of, not the smoke, the smell of the smoke of charcoal. And for me, it's very nostalgic because as a child in France, we had a charcoal oven. And so every morning in the winter, we had to lit the charcoal oven. Yeah, that was in France. And then the second reason is that in Berlin, it's very well known that one of the smells of Berlin is also that exact same smell. Oh. And I have a laboratory in Berlin. And so in the winter in Berlin, you still smell, not as strong as in Mongolia, but you still smell the same scent.
Oh, it's really interesting.
So, yeah.
Okay, so what's your purpose in Mongolia? You might be the first scent composer visiting Mongolia.
But you know, you never know. In the history of perfumery, I would hope that some other perfumers came here. But it's true, it's not a country that we think about when we talk about fragrances. Me, I know Mongolia from reading a little bit because I love animals, and I even wanted to be a vet when I was for like 15 years, right before becoming a chemist and a perfumer. And so I've read a lot about certain animals that are in Mongolia, and I've always wanted to visit. And also I love dairy products, so I love milk and all that. So it's, for me, it's a magical moment to be here.
You've already tried any dairy product?
Yes. So this, we will. Tomorrow we're going to the market, first of all. And then on the weekend we're going to go around the countryside and so I'm here because I was invited by Oshko here, the leader of the largest fragrance Facebook group on the internet. It is actually not an American group, it is not an English group, it's actually a Mongolian group. And it's a whole Facebook page in Mongolian about all things perfumery. Well, so here I am. And I'm really, I feel very good.
Okay, thank you. Good to see you. So we buy perfumes and don't know about the procedure.
That's great.
How the perfume is really created.
So, in 1 second, so I would say, think about writing music. You have the notes and the different instruments. So in music, on the piano, you have about 88 notes. The piano has 88 keys. We have more than 1,000 keys.
Oh, wow.
So if you come to a perfumery lab, you see like more than 1,000 little bottles, just like these ones. We have some small ones, tiny ones, huge ones, and on 3 walls like this. And then the perfumer is in the middle with a scale, a balance, a scale. And then you measure very precisely. We measure much more precisely than the chef in the kitchen. Really to the milligram, microgram, we measure the quantities of each ingredient. And then, like a music composer is writing very precisely the music, and it gets very complicated. And in one fragrance, so if you take in this candle, or in a fine fragrance, you have between 20 to 100 ingredients.
Oh, wow.
It's very common. 20 is very short, actually. Very often we have 30, 40, 50 ingredients. So that's... It's very complicated.
To understand the smell, how people can be educated to smell or train their nose?
So this you learn. So there are very few schools in the world. In fact, I know only like 3 schools that are actually really a bit serious about perfumery. 3 schools in the whole world, of which 3 are in France. So you see, it's very hard to get an education in perfumery. So what you do usually, you start with the school, but at the end, or you train with masters. So it's a bit like the old-fashioned way. Perfumery has not changed much in the way we work for like 300 years. And you have to find a master perfumer that wants to take you on board, and then you learn. The training is 3 years. then you're junior perfumer for 5 years, then you become perfumer, and then senior perfumer and master perfumer later. So that's how it works. You have to learn the ingredients, and you have to learn the techniques, because there are almost no books. There are a few theories, but you have to learn all the techniques.
Okay. I've seen the movie which was made by Patrick Seskin's novel, The Perfumer.
Yeah,
yes.
fabulous.
In this movie, the main role, the boy, he can describe everything by smell.
Yes.
Is it like you?
So, no. Well, yes and no. It's true that I can describe a smell. I don't think I smell better than you do. So the guy in the book and the movie, he smells like a dog.
Yes.
So this, no. But it's like a musician. The musician has a good ear. It doesn't mean he hears a sound like 5 kilometers away. No, it's not the story. It's that he knows what he's hearing and he pays attention to the hearing. That's the difference. Same me. I don't feel, and I know for a fact, I don't smell better than you do. I don't smell a smell from very far, or no, I need the smell. But then when I smell something, I understand it, or you might not notice, and I'm going to tell you, oh, did you notice there's a smell here? And then you'll be like, oh yeah, I didn't notice. You see, so I see before the people see, but I don't have a better vision. You see what I mean? And then when I watch something, I see the different elements. Like if I watch this painting, if you're a painter, you're going to say, oh, did you notice that? I'm going to be like, oh, no, I didn't see that. And the painter would notice the different structure, right? It's exactly the same in perfumery. Okay. So I really want to give a message to the people. Perfumery, people don't know how to go about it. So they should think of other arts. They should think of music, architecture, painting. We function exactly the same way. We are inspired by the same things. We built a fragrance. We all the same. We have notes. Voilà, that's how people should think.
Okay, it's really interesting. I've heard about your products which are made in basis on this movie.
Yes,
Can you describe about this work?
Yeah, I was with my perfumer partner at the time. We created the soundtrack for that book and for that movie.
For the chapters?
For the chapters or the different scenes. And so we had some smells that are very, actually I have one smell which is actually right here, total coincidence. It's Jasmine Absolute from Egypt. And I wanted people to smell real jasmine extract. So this is pure 100% jasmine extract. Oh, wow. And in this bottle, maybe you have, I don't know, 10 bushes of jasmine that you extract and you put in this bottle. So that's what people had.
Oh,
you see,
yes,
it's very concentrated, huh? But you see, it's this kind. So I had that. So this is just pure in the movie. But also then I created some scents. So some are nice, like the smell of the baby, or the smell of the virgin with the white skin, and then the apricot feeling, and the plum. You know, she's carrying the plum, so I did that. Then the smell, I recreated an old formula of the time, you know, when he smells at a perfumer in Paris. And then I have some stinky smells. So I recreated the smell of the streets of Paris in 1738. So it was really smelly, really stinky. So it's like if you do the music for a horror movie, or if you do the makeup for a horror movie, you have to do it well, but really bad. You know, does it mean it's like a horror, but bad? So same, the smell of Paris, I had to recreate properly so that it really smells bad. And so we have molecules. It's funny because I didn't plan on having this question, but I want to show you. Okay. I brought it because I know Mongolia is very big on horses. And it so happens that there is a molecule that you find in jasmine, a note you find in jasmine, and you find in horses naturally. Oh. And so, like in the smell of Paris with all the horses at the time, see, if you go like this, you see the little animalic, you see?
I can smell it,
So it's the animalic note is important in jasmine for the petali effect of jasmine, and it's also found naturally in horses, the same note. And so we have that note alone. It's like do, re, mi, fa, sol, so it's like ding, so that buh, that's a horse, which you find in the horse and you find in the jasmine.
Really
so if I put this with other flowers, I get jasmine. If I put this with leather and other notes, then I can recreate a horse in the mind of the people. You see, that's how we work. And so we had different smells like that in the soundtrack.
It's really interesting.
I mean, people have no idea that we can create that way. Yeah, I know, it's fascinating. Well, I love what I do, right? But I find it fascinating, and every day in my lab, it's still fascinating for me because we have so many combinations, so many possible smells we can do. No, it's cool.
Yes. Then how many references and books are created about the history of perfumery? And actually, how many scent composers are there in the world?
So the books, we don't have so many. We have more and more. When I started Perfumery, there were like maybe 5 books about perfumery. So it was like 20 years ago. But now you have some books that are coming more and more. So the field of perfumery gets more and more populated. More and more people, even like Oshko, are spreading education, also so that we have more and more connoisseurs. People online know more and more about perfumes, but they still don't know as much about perfume that they know about tea or coffee or chocolate. So I want people to know as much about perfume than they know about chocolate. Now, in terms of, what was the other question?
About how many scent composers in the world?
So they say we are about 600, 700 in the whole world. So compared to the amount of musicians and the amount of architects, it's tiny, tiny,
yeah,
tiny.
It's little.
And then the people that do very high level, we are like, I don't know, 50, and we know each other. It's a very small community. It's a very unique field. But I want this field to explode. I want smaller perfumers to become bigger. We need much more projects, interesting projects, challenges. Yeah, voilà.
Now I would like to ask about the brain and nose connections, because sometimes we smell something and we can remind some of our memories. Why does the smell trigger some emotions and memories?
So you know, I'm a chemist, and so I follow a lot, I collaborate a lot with researchers about the sense of smell. And I collaborate with people from Columbia University, Weizmann Institute in Israel, or NYU in New York City. And I really love to follow what the science is doing. And I have to say, in the past 10, 15 years, the science has accelerated. So we learn more and more about the sense of smell. Because before it was very mysterious, even for the scientists. And so one thing we know about the sense of smell is that the sense of smell is the only one that is directly connected to your center of emotion and your center of memory. And also, you should know, emotion is also how you decide things. So it's not irrational, there's also rational behind it. And memory, think about it, it also has to do with intelligence. If we're intelligent, it's because you remember a situation, and when you have a new situation, you know from the learnings from before how to face the situation. That's intelligence. So the sense of smell is also very important for intelligence. But it's a direct highway. You smell, and in 2 steps, clack, clack, and you cannot control that. So the first 1-2 seconds, you cannot control. That's why when you smell, oh yeah, voilà. Yeah. So that's only the sense of smell. And the eyes, it goes first to the reason in the brain, the calculation center, and then it goes to the memory. So it's filtered. The touch, same. It goes to the rational center, gets filtered, and then it goes to the emotion. Whereas the nose, there's no filtering. Clack. And then you think. Well, but the first 1-2 seconds are very childish because you don't control and you remember things you would not remember with words. That's also very important. People should know that. With scent, you remember things that you will not remember with words. So I can talk to you for 3 hours about oranges and be like, and then you smell the smell of oranges and clack, you will have a new memory. Oh yeah, now I remember my night in the hotel in Miami. And so really? Yeah, it's very, very interesting. And so psychologists should use the sense of smell, or the police should use the sense of smell to make people remember things that they don't remember when something happens. And so it's totally underutilized. People should utilize more and more the sense of smell.
And then is it really that different perfumes or smells different in different peoples, in different skins?
Yeah, so you have the fattiness of the skin, that's different. So the skin retains some things differently, but also very important what you eat. So your background smell, you know, if I smell you, you have a smell. If you smell me, I have a smell. And if I smell, so you don't smell your own smell. I don't smell myself. So it's your background noise. So that influences the overall smell of you as well. That's why.
Of own person without perfume? The smell of own
everybody,
person.
a person without a perfume smells of something because you eat, your skin, it's just normal body. But even if you're super clean, your body creates smells. And so people have different bacteria on the skin, you know, the natural bacteria that are on the skin, a lot of different things. And then the food is very important. Well, and then of course sometimes you have fabric softener, the cream you put, or that kind of stuff. So that influences also the overall smell. So it's not just the fragrance itself, it's your background smell as well.
And would you like to create your own perfume or smell about the Mongolia, about your Mongolia's emotion?
So this I love to do anyway, because I'm quite a specialist. I do a lot of that, creating the scent signature of places or even of companies. So I created for a long time the scent signature of Abercrombie & Fitch. You know, it was smelling in all the store. I created the scent of University, Weizmann University in Israel. I created the scent of a lot of hotels like the Ritz-Carlton in Washington, D.C., or the Fairmont Hotel in Seattle, the Park Hyatt in Paris. So I like to create those signature things. And so it's a very good source of inspiration for me. So I'm sure after Mongolia, I will have a source of inspiration for sure. So, voilà.
Now I would like to ask you about the perfumes which are here, about your project.
So yes, so I brought a few little projects. So I create now for a lot of luxury or very sustainable organic brands. I use molecules and I use naturals to create very special scents. So here you have a line of candles that are made by two gentlemen that used to work at Google, and then they wanted to do something for the world and in a better way using scent. So they're using coconut wax, they are doing, the glass is recyclable. This is a whiskey glass. You can remove the label and then it becomes a whiskey glass. And then for every candle you buy, the proceeds go to help people in Africa to have solar panels so that they can get electricity in the villages. And so it's a very complete project. And then I create also for a lot of niche brands. So here you have two. One of them is actually the line I've just launched. It's called the Zoo. So it's a very original way to present perfumes, and it's very pop, but also every scent has some special stories, etc. And there is also a zoo police with a code of ethics, specially made for perfumers. Perfumers do not have their own code of ethics. It's very unique. And I've created one. I want us to have a real code of ethics. And then we also have the zoo guide to explain people how to use fragrances. And I find that the niche market should be also much more provocative, much more futuristic, much more controversial. Voilà. So I try to help the people that do that.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks,
Spreading
thank you for
good word and sharing your experience
Yeah.
and knowledge. So I'm very happy to see you here in Mongolia.
Yeah, I'll come back and then I will spread the good word about Mongolia because now I know more about this country, which is fascinating.
Thank you very much.
Fabulous.
Good luck.
Thank you.